Half a day, everyone. I'm AccuDoc Ava with AccuHealth. Thanks for tuning in today. And we are going to go over the number 6 reason or mistake you're making to stay in pain. This is part of that series, so hang in there with us. We're just talking about the 7 mistakes that you're making to stay in pain. And after we go through all these steps, then we are going to go over the best course of action for you, or maybe the most effective, maybe not the most effective, but the best place to start when you're in pain and you're trying to get out of that situation. Because who wants to be in pain? Have you met people in pain? They're not pleasant. Not always. Some of them have a really good outlook when it comes to pain, but for the most part, it's painful and it makes you miserable. So anyway, the number 6 reason, and it's a pretty obvious one too, that mistake that you're making to stay in pain is lack of movement. Now, I know we've all seen those commercials about arthritis, just get up and move, and there's a lot of truth to that. So in Chinese medicine, pain is stagnation, and that means things are not moving as well as they should. The circulation in the area is not as good as it should. So, toxins or lactic acid, things like that, inflammation starts to accumulate in these various areas. So I work with my hands a lot. And so I am going to have a tendency to have more buildup in my hands, and it's going to be easier to get inflamed. And that's because I've overused them to the point where there's so much lactic acid or waste material that has built up in my hands, and I'm doing too much work with them and not really allowing them the rest and regular movement to get those things flushed out. But the worst thing I could do, and maybe you guys have experienced this, is not move. So if you go to bed and you're like, oh, I don't feel so bad, the pain's not so bad, and then you wake up the next morning and then, whoa, I can't walk, or I can't bend my fingers, that's because you've been laying there for 8 hours, hopefully 8 hours, unless we have some insomnia issues. But hopefully you've gotten 8 hours of sleep, but you haven't moved very much during that time frame. So if you think about it, it kind of perpetuates that idea that lack of movement is really what's causing that pain, because once you get up, you start moving around. Guess what? Your blood gets pumping, the circulation gets better, this starts to move out. And I'm just using my hand as an example. Wherever this pain is for you, a lot of people have that plantar fasciitis and can't walk in the morning, or if you roll out of bed and you're kind of slumped over a little bit until you get moving, it's because you have pain due to what we call stagnation. And we don't have to go into the nitty-gritty details of what is stagnating there, but things aren't moving. So what's the best way to get it out of there is to get moving. So the lack of movement really doesn't do you any favors. Now, I'm not saying if you have back pain, low back pain, you're going to go do a bunch of deadlifts or anything like that. Go do a bunch of gardening where you're bent over, anything that's real heavy on the back. But you don't want to just sit in your lazy boy recliner and watch TV all day, because that's not going to do you any favors. So it's pretty obvious for some. I don't know that you could say it's obvious, but lack of movement is definitely going to work against you. So that is the number 6 reason you're staying in pain. if you resonate with this, if you've been in this situation, you've woken up with stiff, achy joints, comment below. Let us know. Let people know. What are you experiencing? Where are you tuning in from? So that people don't feel like they're alone in this pain journey. So thank you for tuning in. I'm AcuDoc Ava. Half a day, everyone.